Welcome to the Honor It All podcast. I'm Honor Garrett, your host, and we're here to honor all that is good in the world. Each podcast, I interview top professionals around the globe who are making a difference, impacting lives, and creating positive change. Today, I'm so excited for our guest, Jen Buck. With over 30 years of experience as a professional speaker, coach, and trainer, Jen has worked alongside some of the largest brands in the world. She's trained and coached 4- and 5-star generals, the highest level executives at Coca-Cola, Mercedes, McDonald's, Walmart, and even an Emmy nominated actress. She is a best-selling author with 6 publications, has a television show that's seen in 50 countries worldwide, and she's the host of a podcast that highlights female leaders who are changing their corner of the world. But what I love most about Jen is her kind heart to pay it forward. She has launched an online learning academy for women, and she's founded several nonprofits. Jen, the list goes on, but I'll let you share. And I'm so excited to have you here today on the Honor It All podcast. Welcome. How are you?
Hi, I'm so glad to be here. It's a little bit daunting to hear someone read your bio out loud. Like I'm sitting there, oh God, it's just, it's a little horrifying, but it's also really, exciting and makes me proud, but it's hard to listen to someone do that.
I'll tell you, I mean, I didn't even know. It's so funny. It's such a treat because I met you. I'm not sure if it was Instagram or Clubhouse or something where I found you and I was so drawn to your energy. So guys, trust your intuition. It's a guidance system to wonderful people and things in your life. And so I was just drawn to Jen and I reached out to her, but I had no idea how the amazing things that you've done, but I just trusted it and I followed it. And I'm like, wow, what an amazing person. So thank you. But I want to get personal. So yeah, I think everyone has a story and it's really that has helped shape who they are, who they've become. Can you give us a snapshot into your journey of where you were, where you are now, or maybe a highlight or pivotal moment that helped you grow?
For me, I think I was just always a natural performer, a natural helper. And I also was naturally really strong and independent. I was raised in a family, our the sisters, if you will, were all very tight knit. We were raised in the same community and I have 7 boy cousins and me. And so not only am I the only girl, but I'm at the bottom of the heap. And so I think I was always just really, really needing to be heard, really needing to figure out different ways to do things to keep up with the boys. And I think as I just went through life, those sort of natural leadership traits just grew and grew. And my freshman year in college, I went to a women's conference with my mom, because I was failing out of college, if we're completely honest, because I was partying too much and just not applying myself, like the
been there, done that.
Parents wanted me to do. Yeah. So as it turns out, my mom took me to a women's conference and it was then that literally lightning struck. I knew that that's what I was supposed to do. I knew it. And here I was 18. And before I knew it, I was within just a few months being hired by a now internationally known award-winning brand, but at the time they were a startup. So I got in within their first year of inception, and I was there for 10 years as a trainer. So that was the starting point. Somehow I just sort of knew what I was supposed to do and had sort of this natural gumption and sass, and it just happened.
So if there are people out there who love what you do and they want to be able to go and speak on stages or inspire people, what advice would you give them to start? I mean, did you just cold call somebody? Did you write a letter? How did you get in front of people that would hire you?
So it was dumb luck, if I'm honest, back then, because, this was 1989. So I applied in 88, got the job in January of 89. And I was, I'd gone to the women's conference. I was a waitress at Chili's in the bar. That was my job, as I was a full-time college student. And so I was just telling everybody that would listen that I'm going to be a motivational speaker. That's what I would say at the time. And so it was one of my one of my bar patrons who was working at this company ended up saying to me, would you, we're looking for someone who would be a trainer. And I know you don't realize this, but this is what you have to do to go there and to be able to do that. Would you want to interview for this job? And I remember my parents were like, no, you're a college student. You're going to keep doing what you're doing. And I begged them to the point of tears.
Wow.
They were like, 1 year, you got 1 year. Well, I stayed for 10 and it is literally the launching point for me. So when people ask me about my journey, it was dumb luck. Like they were crazy, if we're honest, to hire an 18-year-old kid. Like, let's be really clear, right? To be in a training role. But it ended up being the greatest thing for me that ever happened in my entire career because it set me up. But I tell people all the time, if they want to get into it, they've got to really get serious about learning the mechanics. You can't just be chatty. You just can't be someone who's given a few speeches at church and feel like, I'm going to do this. Like you have to get the mechanics. And this really is a very choreographed presentation. Your gestures, the words, the pausing, the emphasis, the storytelling, the pacing, all of those things are very, very choreographed. And so it's really about getting a coach and learning to do it. It's about taking comedy classes. It's about taking storytelling classes. It's about making sure that, you're putting yourself out there to speak as often as you can. So I tell people now with all these audio apps, get onto the audio apps, whether it's Wisdom. The Wisdom app is fabulous where you can just speak. You can get onto Clubhouse and sometimes get onto those stages and share your knowledge. All of the big apps, like Facebook and Twitter, they're all going in that direction. LinkedIn right now is going into the audio space. So get yourself out there. You're not a professional speaker, but you're getting practice speaking on the spot. And that's important.
That's great advice. And even Twitter has an audio thing too.
Yeah.
So it's funny, you would think because everything's so video now that audio and podcasts and things like that would be declining, but they're not. People are so hungry to hear things.
It feels real, when you hear someone's voice. And I think that's where we might have met, Honor, is on Clubhouse through the Mom Link, I think.
Yeah, that probably is.
Yeah, I think that's where we met. And then it moved to Instagram. But I think that it's remarkable to look at these audio apps and the growth that's happening right now, because we're used to short form video now with, what is it called? TikTok, right? We're used to that.
Yes.
But this audio format, it's so authentic. It feels so real. You feel like you're truly connecting, because there is something to hearing someone's intonation as opposed to just seeing their words typed,
Well, it is interesting because people for some reason feel like they can bare their soul and really be honest on this app, maybe because they can't really see or they can see a face, but they don't,
maybe. Yeah.
It's not so vulnerable that they see them live. But the one reason I love the audio apps too is because anyone trying to grow their business, when I'm trying to find somebody to help me, maybe in my business, and you can look at ads all day long with people look airbrushed and perfect and say they could answer all your problems, but you've never spoken to them. And on these audio apps, you can ask questions. And when I hear someone answer a question, I immediately know if they know what they're talking about. Yes. Or if they have no idea.
Yes.
And so it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that's all new, but then you've also created an online academy. Is that for women? Can you tell us a little bit about that and what does that entail?
Yeah. So my entire career is speaking in front of audiences, right? So I went from working in the startup as a leadership development trainer to then opening up my own business. So the irony of all of this is when I left that startup after 10 years, I actually got a job, my first speaking gig on the National Women's Conference. So that was a full circle moment, right? And that's why I left the startup. So after now 24 years of speaking on stages professionally for a living, COVID did a number, as you can imagine, because there are no more large group settings, right? There are no more conferences and at-risk mega, events where we could have a super spreader. So I had to pivot quickly, like so many did. And one of the things that I decided to do was create an online learning space for women. So it's not just me, it's other affiliates and speakers as well. But what I do is I have videos up, both, gosh, they are video courses, they are pod courses. I now have text courses, and people can come and literally get training from as low as $20. And it's for women. All of the courses are just for women. They are both personally related as well as professionally related, probably a little heavier in the professional side, but they're all about giving women access to learning, because we know that businesses are taking a hit right now. And so they're not able to spend the kind of money they used to. They can't send you to a conference like they used to, right? And so it was really important for me to create something that had a low cost barrier that just anyone could get into, $20, and I can get training and I can get juiced up and excited and motivated and sharpen my skill set and all of those things. And whether or not the company decides to pay for it or not, I'm doing it. And that was important to me, because I think a lot of women really, well, we're seeing it in the Great Resignation, right? That a lot of women were carrying the majority of the load during COVID. We still are, whether that is working and keeping the house, taken care of,
teaching school
and teaching. Right.
It's
And
crazy.
so this is part of that Great Resignation, right? And I actually look at it as the great opportunity, because I know that women are totally up leveling what they're doing, whether that's through entrepreneurship or taking better jobs with companies that are going to be better to them. Let's just say that, give them better packages and whatnot. But all of that to say, I think it's important that there's a space for women. And that's why I created the HERstory Collaborative. And it's the HERstory Collaborative.com. And it's a space for women to be able to sort of pick and choose, a marketplace for women to decide, what am I going to focus on? Do I want to do a course that I can finish in a day, or do I want to do one that's going to last a few weeks? It's all about deciding what sort of fits their life, their budget, their interests, and whatnot. So, yeah.
So do you have a podcast with that same name?
I do.
So what do you do on the podcast? Do you interview people that are in your courses, or do you find people outside to inspire them, or what do you do?
So the HERstory Collaborative is sort of the brand, right? So it is definitely the online learning academy, the space that we just talked about. It's my podcast, and it's also my television show. So it's using that same name, because I just really think that women coming together to build a new future is really important, and acknowledging women who are changing their corner of the world, whatever that looks like, however big or however small. Those women need to be celebrated. And to me, there aren't enough outlets to celebrate women. There just aren't, and one month out of the year to really celebrate women is just not good enough for me, because I feel like women are not only the backbone of what's happening in this country right now, but if you look culturally back as far as you go, women have always been the spine, right, through that community and culture. And so I'm just all about celebrating women. It's what my keynotes are about. It's what my trainings are about. And it's what the television show and the podcast are about. And I want to celebrate women who are doing their best to kill it, to make a difference, to plant their flag and change their corner of the world. And that's what I do. I just interview cool, really rad ladies that are badasses.
That's what I'm doing today with you.
Yeah, that's right.
But, well, what would you tell someone? Because I know a lot of women out there, even myself, my kids are grown. I have 4 grown kids. I'm an empty nester, and I decided, okay, love my children, love my husband, but like, I was meant to do more than that. I'm not just a mom and a housewife. I know I have more to give. And so I went back and started a business, but there are a lot of us that they're really wanting to grow our business, or really wanting to step out, but we feel like there's so many people doing so much, so many other women, and we get stuck in this cycle of, comparison, or it's so saturated. There's so many other people that are doing amazing things. How can I think I can do that?
Yeah.
What advice would you give?
There's room for everybody at the table. That's the advice I would give you. I truly believe that there are so many levels of opportunity for all of us. Even if we all decided today we were all going to like chocolate ice cream only, there are going to be so many versions of chocolate that we could all still find ways to individualize ourselves, to participate, to not feel like a copy of something else. I truly, truly believe that we are innovative enough to find a way into space, even if it's already saturated. One of the things that I will tell you as I'm speaking to women in leadership, and high performing women are really my client. One of my keynotes is on vulnerability. Well, who speaks on vulnerability? The queen herself, Brené Brown.
Yes, she does.
But I promise you, my keynote on vulnerability, that's a way lower cost than her $100,000 keynote, is going to be more of an option for more people who are having an event and want someone to speak on a concept, because she doesn't own the rights to the idea of vulnerability, right?
Right.
She's the biggest name. She is, sort of Mother Earth, love her dearly, but she's also out of many, 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 if not the majority of budgets out there when it comes to bringing in a speaker. So here I am speaking on a topic that she's the goddess on, and yet I'm getting booked to speak on that because there's room for everybody at this table. And she's going to keep getting $100,000 gigs. I will not, right? That's not where I'm at in my career right now. And so I really need women to know that there is room for everyone, and we need all voices. My big belief in life is that way before we got here, you can put any faith and belief on this as you'd like, but I believe that before we got here, we signed up for this. I truly believe that there was a plan. And that's why when things seem so dark and we think we can't get through it, we do, because this is part of our plan. And I think that we were all given a talent to carry through this life. That talent might be a message. That talent might be a purpose. That talent might be, a heroic act. But I believe that we were all given this talent to carry through life. And we can't have, I'll say women for now, I can't have women afraid to exercise that talent, to step into that ring, to be willing to take their seat at that table. It has to be about bravery. It has to be about trusting that there's something bigger than you happening here, which is why something's screaming in your soul. And that trust, when we decide to step into it, that deep bravery is often connected to that talent that you were given to be responsible for throughout this life. And that's really what I believe. Really, really.
No, that's powerful, and so powerful. And I really believe that, there's never regret in trying and stumbling, but there is regret in never doing what you wanted to do or thought of doing. And I really look at people too, like you said, there's room at the table. We might all be talking on vulnerability, right? Or we may all be talking about how to grow a 6-figure business or whatever that is. But every single one of us brings a different, really, spirit and soul to that subject that nobody else. So I always tell everybody, no one can do what you do the way you do it.
That's right.
And the right people will be attracted to you. So, and that's what you want. And that's why it's so important to be authentic, because if you're not, you're going to attract people that aren't like you.
That's right.
You're not being yourself.
That's right.
And so well, tell me about your books. Did you say you've written a book or?
Yeah. And I've got another one coming out this year that I am actually a part of. I was asked, this was pretty cool. I was asked to do the foreword on a book for women.
Oh.
And so I know that's just so strange to me, because usually the people who do forewords are very, very impressive and powerful. And all of a sudden I'm being asked, I'm like,
you need to own it.
Are you sure you meant me? I'm just little Jenny Buck from Placentia, California. I've got 6 books, and all of them are about women, empowerment for women. So one is about communicating and being assertive. There's a faith-based one, which I actually, it was kind of botched, and I'm not really proud of that, but they are all about empowerment for women. And I recently, at the end of last year, 2021, put one out that is about boosting your online credibility through live streaming. And I did that one. It's actually what they call a pocketbook. And a pocketbook is what they put in the category of short burst learning. And so they're 50 pages or less. This one is right around 51 or 2 or something like that. But they're short burst learning so that you don't have to invest a lot financially. You don't have to invest a lot of time, but you get good information that will move your needle forward. And so that one is called Glow Up. And I actually have a corresponding course called Glow Up, which is all about boosting your online presence. And so it's, all about, for me, helping women move the needle. For so long, I had to sort of scrape by because people hoarded information. And I was struggling, and I was reaching out for help, and people weren't helping me. And if it wasn't for the internet a gazillion years ago coming around and me getting comfortable with it, that was important. I don't know that I would be as far along in my career, just in general, and as savvy as I am. And I don't think I would have recuperated and bounced back from the COVID,
Right.
great halt that happened in my industry. I don't think I would have bounced back and done nearly as well if it weren't for all of these different ways to learn online. And that was also the spark of why I thought, okay, we got to give people resources, because I know that I have always kind of clawed to get information, and I don't believe in hoarding. And so I'm just big on making sure that I'm sharing, whether it's in a phone call or a podcast or giving you access to my courses or whatever. I just think that there's so much information, and women need to come together so that we can all rise together. And that means we have to share. We have to share.
That's absolutely beautiful, because I was actually listening to someone today, and they were saying, give away your best stuff.
That's right.
Share everything you know, because people are going to want to work with you because of the transformation you provide, not the information that you provide. So give them the information and then let them get to know how amazing you are. That's when they're going to want to work with you. And that's when the real transformation happens.
Yeah.
Anyone can get information. So there's no reason to hoard it, just like you said. That's
no, got to share it all.
And so being a mindset coach myself, I really believe not only mindset is important, but your energy. And I'm all about the law of attraction, and what you put out there, you bring back. What is your what's your take on mindset and really just energy and manifesting?
Yeah, I'm with you, sister. It is everything. And I'm somebody who practices all of that every day. I've got these little tricks and tips and hacks that I use on a daily basis all the time. I've got a chant that I do in my head every morning when
share one hack. Share one hack if you can.
Okay. So I'll share this one out loud, and then I'll just throw a couple other things at you. So the one hack that I do every single morning when I wake up, and I probably do it 50 to 100 times in my head, is I say this phrase. I say, I'm alert, I'm alive, and I feel great. 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 And I just say it hundreds and hundreds, or 50 times, whatever it is. I'm alert, I'm alive, and I feel great. I'm alert, I'm alive, and I feel great. Because we know about the mind-body connection. And when I'm waking up at 6 a.m., I'm not alert, I'm not alive, and frankly, I don't feel great, right?
Yeah.
And so I literally get myself in there. I'm alert, I'm alive, and I feel great. And any person in my life will tell you she is the happiest person when she wakes up. And I'm not. I put the right stuff in me. And so that's really important. I also have a couple other tips, and they won't take long to tell you. One is, if every time I see a 12, 12, 10, 10, 11, 11, 222, 111, whatever it is, 555, I will sit in a moment of gratitude. And I mean a moment, 10 seconds, 15 seconds to find something in that moment that I am grateful for that came to me in that day, or that I'm working on, or something. I'm really intentional about that. So if I happen to look at my watch or whatever, I'm like, 1:11, I will stop and I will become really grateful for about 10, 15 seconds. And I feel like it's important practice for me to stay in a constant state of gratitude. And then the other one is I've got a prayer that I do. It's a prayer for abundance. And I will set my alarm throughout the day, so that my alarm on my phone will go off. And at that moment, I will just jump into this prayer of gratitude. It's not a religious prayer. It's really for anything and anybody within their faith, but I will stop and I will read that prayer for gratitude. So I'm just disciplined about making sure that this is what it needs to be.
Well, it's all about intention and awareness. And that's when you can really create and co-create the beautiful things in your life. And I think so often we're just, especially as a mom, you're flying through the day and you're like a feather in the wind, just trying to get through and put out fires. And to finally be at a place in my life, and you can do this when you have kids, actually it's probably more important, but I didn't know about all this stuff when I was raising my children, that, you can't be in a state of fear and a state of gratitude at the same time.
Right.
So that gratitude is so important, because that just keeps your frequency and your vibration high. And that's when you're going to attract the same thing. So, I love this. So what does it look like if somebody wanted to work with you? What would they need to do? Is it go to your website? Tell me.
Yeah. So I'm on every social media platform at Jen, one N, Jen Buck, Buck, speaks, like I'm a speaker, right? JenBuckSpeaks.com or at Jen Buck Speaks at every single social media platform. So I'm everywhere. And I have a website that is JenBuckSpeaks.com. So it's literally the through line with all things. And I work with women. I also work with men, but I really prefer to work with women. And I do that on a daily, whether women are wanting to get into entrepreneurship, become a speaker. I work with a lot of women who want to become speakers, and I help them create all of their speaker assets and help them with the mechanics of the speaking and get connected to the speakers bureaus and event planners who get us those big gigs and all that. So I can be found everywhere. Just reach out. You can just mention this podcast, and I would love to jump on a phone call and chat with you if that's what you want to do. But yeah, I'm out there. I'm everywhere, and I'm totally accessible. I don't have any bots or other people answering my inboxes. It's legitimately me. So,
and that's so interesting about speaking. If you're interested in being a speaker, is that people don't realize that there definitely is a method of how to do it, and who are the people you need to contact, and how you write a pitch, and I'm sure it's so involved. I don't need to know it all. It's something I would love to learn.
And I told you I'd help you. I will help you for sure.
And then I have two questions. What is the biggest lesson that you feel like you've learned in life?
Biggest lesson in life is, I think the biggest lesson in life that I've learned is that it's okay for me to create boundaries around anyone and anything in my life. And that just because I have a familial or extended relationship with someone that spans years and years, if not even my whole lifetime, that it's okay for me to create boundaries that allow me to be healthy and happy and not endure the negativity. I wasn't raised with that. I was raised with family's family, and your friends are friends for life kind of thing. And it has taken me until I was 50 to realize, nope, these kinds of hurts should not be happening, or they shouldn't be tolerated. And so that's probably been the biggest lesson for me, and the hardest lesson.
Oh yeah, I could imagine. Well, I appreciate your just vulnerability. Obviously you've been working on it because you talk.
Well, it's hard. I'm like stammering as I'm telling you, because it's just a constant,
But so what's on the horizon? Is there anything new that you want to share with everybody?
Well, I don't know that I would say new, but I am always interested in meeting new people. So if you are interested in being on the podcast, this is for you too. I would love to have you on to share your story. I am always looking for affiliates who are course creators that want to affiliate with me. I don't even charge women to put their courses on my platform. That's how committed I am to making sure that all of us rise together and that we provide what's needed to women out there. So, I'm always looking for affiliates. Like I mentioned, I've got this book that I'm a part of that's coming out here this year. I think everything is hitting this summer. I have a documentary that I'm going to be a part of before summer. So just, come check it out and be a part of the fun, I guess, is all I would say.
That's beautiful. Well, for everybody listening, all of Jen's information will be in the show notes, whether you find this on YouTube or if you're listening on a podcast. So you'll be able to reach out to her and get and contact her. So, and do that. This is important. You want to know Jen, and she's being so gracious to offer so much of herself and her time. She's committed to women. And Jen, I love to end each podcast with the same question for every guest. This podcast is called the Honor It All podcast. What are you choosing to honor today?
I think the most important thing that I keep in mind as I move through my career, when I move through interactions publicly or even with our daughter, I think it's really important for me to maintain a strong sense of honor for the women who came before me. And I think that's always sort of my true north. Am I doing right by the fight that the women before me had to have to allow me to be here? Am I doing right by how my grandmother raised us? Am I doing right by, sort of the beliefs and needs that women have? I just think that that's sort of a guiding light for me, to be really aware of the women who fought before me to break those glass ceilings so that I could be ushered in. And I'm always really keenly aware of that. So that's what I would have to say is what sort of drives me and what I honor on a regular basis.
Well, that's a powerful filter, to sift things through when you're doing things. So appreciate you sharing that. And what a perfect way to complete this episode with the extraordinary Jen Buck. Thank you, Jen. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
And until next time, remember, we are not promised tomorrow. So be present today. It is a gift, and take time to honor it all.